Welcome to Vegetable Starters and Salads. Today we're going to explore a number of different recipes utilizing the grill to create great starters and salads. But before we get to that, we're going to talk a little bit about charcoal. You can see here I've got a beautiful bed of white coals. And how we got there, I'm going to walk you through step by step. So the first thing we do is we take a cylindrical device called a chimney, and we fill that with charcoal. The chimney is a cylinder, it's perforated, it's got a little cage about a third of the way up, so there's an air gap on the bottom. We put paper in that air gap, fill the chimney with charcoal briquettes, and we light that paper on fire. The paper then ignites the chimney from the bottom. As the heat rises up, it continues to get the airflow from the perforations in the cylinder. Eventually, all that charcoal becomes lit, and then we take that charcoal, we put it in the bed of our grill, and we add more charcoal to that to get a nice bed of coals. And we wait until they're all white. We don't want to see much black in there at all, if any. And by doing that, we're going to avoid any flame-up issues or flare-ups, which we really don't want while we're grilling. So let's look at our first recipe. We're going to be taking a look at a salad of endive, which is a member of the chicory family. And we're going to take some pancetta, and we're going to wrap pancetta around the endive. So what better way to get people to eat more vegetables than to wrap it in tasty pork products? So the first thing I'm going to do is cut the endive in half, and then I'm going to shave the core out of there because that's not really very appealing to eat. And I'm doing a mix of both red and white endive. So the white here, and you can see a little browning on the edge of the leaves here. That's because endive is very sensitive to light and it oxidizes. So we'll just take those outer leaves off. Again, shave the core. And then we're going to take some pancetta. Pancetta is a pork product. It's essentially pork belly that hasn't been smoked. So that's what differentiates it from bacon. Bacon is pork belly that's cured with salt and smoked. Pancetta is just cured and not smoked. So I'm going to take a few pieces here. They roll this up so it's there's some longer pieces, and I'm going to roll these around the pancetta just to cover it gently. And it kind of sticks together. It's nice and fatty. So it's almost like it glues itself on here. And it takes 5 or 6 slices to really encapsulate the endive. So you can see that. And I'm going to press this down, just kind of form that pancetta on there. And then if you take a look over here, I have some that are already done. I'm going to brush these liberally with a little bit of oil. The oil's going to do 2 things. It's going to help keep it from sticking on the grill. And it's also going to act as a conductor of heat. So oil conducts heat really, really effectively. And we want that high heat to render that bacon, that pancetta down and make it crispy. So I'll also just brush a little oil on the back side of it here as well, so that when I flip those over, I'll have that same aid in cooking those. Next, we're going to look at some potatoes. So I have some fingerling potatoes here that we've steamed off, and I've cut these in half. I'm going to cut these in half, and I'm cutting them in half so that the widest area of surface is open on the flat side. And then what I'm going to do is lay these down on the grill like this, or on the cutting board rather, and I'm going to take my skewer and I'm going to gently run the skewer while I'm twisting through the potatoes. And what this does is gives me a perfectly flat surface. Whoops, I got 3 of them. A perfectly flat surface when I go onto the grill here, so that I get nice even grill marks and nice even caramelization. We want to take advantage of that charcoal fire there, picking up the flavors from the charcoal, picking up the flavors from the smoke, and really developing some caramelization and Maillard reaction on those items. So the next thing we're going to look at here is our salad dressing. So first of all, we have beautiful tomatoes concassé. Concassé is a process where we take the tomato, we take the skin off, we take the seeds out, and we're left with just the beautiful pulp of the tomato. So I've taken the tomato, cut the core out, blanched this in boiling water, and then immediately taken it out when I see the skin start to split, move it over into ice water, and it shocks it, stops the cooking process. By doing that, I make it very, very easy to peel this tomato. So literally the skin just falls right off. So you can see how easily that comes off of there. These are beautiful heirloom tomatoes. Really exciting this time of year as a chef to go to the store and see these great products. So now I've cut this in half laterally. I'm going to squeeze the seeds out. Some of the juice comes out as well, but we're really kind of just cherry picking the best part of the tomato here. And then I'm going to just dice this up. So I'm going to cut through this way. And then I'm going to just use the tip of my knife and kind of draw it through, trying to keep this intact if I can. There we go. And then just a nice uniform small dice on the tomatoes. This is going to be an ingredient in a vinaigrette, so we want some uniformity there. And then I'm going to put those into my bowl here. Next ingredient that's going to go in here, we have some garlic and shallots. We want a little aromatic backbone here. So a trick I learned to cutting garlic is to take the cloves and I use the back of my knife, and I bring the back of my knife to the edge of the board and just crush it. And we probably, for that much tomato, only really need 1 clove of garlic. So I'm just gonna, by crushing it, I basically saved myself a couple of minutes of mincing time. Let's just take a look at our endive over here. So this should come up easily, which it does. We're just gonna rotate this 90 degrees, get nice even cooking, even grill marks. Same with our potatoes. And I'm pressing down on there so I get nice contact, nice caramelization, nice flavor development. Now back to the garlic. I can chop this up to a very fine paste in a matter of seconds now after crushing it. I'll scrape the edge of my knife, get the larger pieces that ride up the edge of my knife back into the mix here. So then in a matter of just a few seconds, I've got nicely minced garlic. That goes into my bowl. Shallots, again, looking for some uniformity, so I want a nice cut on the shallots. So what I'm going to do is just cut through several layers here at about 1/8 of an inch increments, almost all the way through the shallot, keeping it intact. Then I'll go and do the same down through the shallot. At this point, get any of these irregular pieces out of my way. And then I can come and make really nice uniform cuts by cutting through those 2 lateral slices. So really nice, delicate, uniform shapes. With a dressing like this, you don't want big chunks of aromatic things that are going to release big, bold flavors in large quantities. So we'll just move this in there. Now we're going to add some fresh lemon juice to this. So I've got a lemon half wrapped in cheesecloth here to keep the seeds in, because we don't want seeds in our vinaigrette. So a combination of the acid from the tomatoes and the acid from the salad, or from the oil rather, is going to give us our vinaigrette here. So get some nice fruity extra virgin olive oil. Just mix this up, let those flavors kind of steep together. Go back over and take a look at our salad components. So the endive's starting to get some color there, crisping up a little bit. Now, our last component in this dish is a salad of fresh parsley leaves. So parsley, this is Italian parsley. So I've taken the stems off. I have just the whole nice leaves here. And I'm just going to simply dress this with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and some salt and pepper. I'm just going to gently toss that around. I want the olive oil to coat the parsley leaves so they get a nice shine to them. Also, that adds an acidic flavor and also that fruity element of olive oil to it. So, and just enough to really wet the parsley leaves. So at this point, I'm ready to plate. So I'm going to take pieces of potato. Lay these down. So the potatoes already cooked, so we're just trying to warm them up gently on the grill, get some of that smoke flavor. Endive. It's nice and tender now. The bacon's crispy on the top there. Just going to arrange that artfully. Parsley salad. I'm going to just offset this a little bit. I want a little bit of it on the salad, but I want it kind of spilling off to fill up the other side of the plate. So just really fresh, delicate garnish, but also adding a vegetative component to it as well. So just want that to stack up there nicely. And then we're just going to garnish this with some really great Reggiano Parmesan. So my favorite Parmesan cheese. And just on the parsley salad itself. And there you have our grilled endive with pancetta, grilled potatoes, parsley salad, and then, of course, the tomato vinaigrette rounds out the whole dish. Just going to spoon this around and over the top, kind of randomly, which, in order, ironically, to make something look random, you have to place it fairly precisely. And there you have it. Next, we're going to look at a not-so-traditional version of Caesar salad. I'm going to start off by putting this lemon on the grill, which is something you wouldn't necessarily think of doing. What I want to do is really get some caramelization to this and develop some flavor. So I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to oil it a little bit because, again, that oil is going to help me to get that heat conductivity in there because it's mostly water on the surface. I don't want it to steam. I want it to caramelize and brown. So a little oil, and then I'm going to find the hot spot on my grill. I'm going to just use my hand to sort of wave over this and feel for hot spots. I want a spot where I'm really not comfortable holding my hand there for very long, and it looks like that's our spot right there. So that's what you want to hear, that sizzle. So that's the water shooting out of there, boiling on the surface right away, so that's a really good sound. That's what we want to hear. Next, let's talk about our lettuce. So this is what we call a little gem. Little gem is a cross between a romaine lettuce and a butter lettuce type. They grow in beautiful little heads like this, and they're